We're gonna fucking level up this episode, and then it'll be outdated for another 4 months.
I would love to level up, but
Bub's like, I had one planned, but you know what? Fuck you guys.
If you could just like level us once per session, that'd be great.
Whoa.
I really want to get to 20.
Well, I mean, I could do it, but
I won't.
But if I'm just being honest, I'm gonna have to really turn up the pain.
Mm.
Can you
So,
just give us
yes.
level 20 now instead?
I have
No.
a confession. No matter what happens in this session, it's already been a good day. When I went out and hung out with my friend Color Wolf, we went to Cracker Barrel, and I found something that I've desperately been looking for.
Your dignity?
I found a Ravenclaw muffler.
I just read Rave, and I was like, what are you holding?
No, it has the house colors. It says Ravenclaw across it. I am super stoked. Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I've got all of them in order. Hi guys, it's been a while. It's been a while since we've been able to meet up and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we talked, we tried to play a game that broke immediately.
I know. Fucking game broke on me immediately.
Yeah, we were in there for like 5 minutes. Maybe.
Yep.
Max.
And the game just broke entirely, like across servers. It was fantastic.
It's lovely.
Oh, what's going on, everybody? How's everything been? Some of you haven't seen since Bubfest. Some of you haven't talked to in
Speaking of
weeks.
Bubfest, got my Bubfest shirt.
Nice.
Super stoked. It looks fantastic. It feels wonderful. It fits like a dream.
Good.
Like a
Yes.
weapon.
You got your fucking leggings, man.
He did. Did you not see the photos he threw into the Discord?
Yes, I saw them.
He had you on his ass. You were all over that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
And allow me to just go ahead and point out, Annie, you got kind of a bubble butt, dude.
Bro, I got a runner's butt. It's all muscle, too.
Like, you got, you know, no homo here, but you got a nice ass.
I know. I get
Oh,
that
you
a lot,
guys can hear me
actually.
okay,
That
right?
is like, yeah, we can hear you. That is like the exact situation in which you would not say no homo.
No homo, but you have a very nice butt. No homo.
That is, if you will, a full homo situation.
It's not gay if you're wearing socks.
Alright, good to know.
This must be another of those Canadian colloquialisms like cornhole.
We need Jared
Wait,
to come in here
what?
and confirm.
Nobody actually says corn.
In here, a little
Wait,
quiet.
No, they say
Or-
Texas horseshoes or some weird shit like that.
That's right. That's his horseshoes.
I don't know if you remember Jared's response when he heard that, but he screamed that he doesn't know what side of Canada and he lives on, but that's not a thing.
Yeah. Also, Annie, I need you to talk up for me because I can barely hear you.
I'll talk up for you.
Let me just turn your volume up.
You're gonna
Turn my
regret
game
that.
up if I-
About 30 minutes into the game, you're going to hear something clacking. And you're just gonna
The moment that someone writes him a message, oh yeah, I'm gonna dread it. It's gonna be absolutely awful.
I'm gonna brush it. It's good for now. My mic's off the desk now, but it's still like as far away from my keyboard as it was before. So
It won't be as bad. It'll still be bad.
You won't hear the desk just.
you don't hear it doesn't fill every ear and pour in your body with sound. When my phone,
Do you have more than two? I mean, what the...
He
Yeah, I
actually,
don't wanna
he
talk
has,
about
he has
it.
one mounted above his desk, one on his desk. He turns them both on and just speaks into the middle.
you know how Hermes has wings on his boots? Yeah.
Go on. Tell me where you have your ears.
I got 2 pairs of ears that are attached to each ankle, and I have earbuds running from my computer down there all the time.
Oh
The worst
god.
version of Lassie ever.
It just takes so long for sound to travel up that I need them in both feet.
It's just
or else
easier for
it's
gravity
just-
to assist you.
Yeah, it's just that whole the stereoscopic sound doesn't come through right if I only got it in one foot. So this is my life. How are you guys doing?
You killed me, Annie.
It's okay.
What's new with you, Will? How's the robot herding and handling going?
What?
How's the robot herding and handling going? Right? Aren't you like handling and assisting and keeping machines clean and clear and ready to roll?
I mean, I wouldn't call them robots. But
And
sure.
suddenly, all I'm seeing is like Will giving a robot a prostate exam or something. It's like, what?
Robot
Why
body
are you
hunter.
picturing?
And you deny being a pervert. Like, what grounds do you have to
It's
stand
just
on?
like you control and handle and all that, and it's just like, what?
Typically, when I go get a checkup, it doesn't involve a hand up my ass. But
I think Sniper's
Until
getting
lately.
worried because he's
Yeah.
starting to get close to 50.
so, back to my original question: how's that going, Will? How are things in
It's
that world?
going. Fucking shit's dying all over the place. Sucks, but it's going.
Good, good. All right. Okay, what's new with you, Ronald? Good talk. Glad we had it.
Yeah, you're kind of muted at the moment.
Still can't hear you. Got nothing.
Cool. Nope. That's how he's been.
Can we get
What
some?
are you guys trying to look for?
Yeah, I'm asking you how you've been.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
the strangest
I'm
thing.
trying
It's
to-
like conversation
I'm
and
trying to
shit.
right now. My brother's making me do something.
All right, we'll move on. We'll give you a
But
moment to think about
I'm
it.
doing all right. I'm chill.
Okay.
We'll come back to
Still?
him. He's doing something. So, Sniper, I'm expecting a bit more of a long-winded answer than I'm all right out of you.
I'm fantastic, actually. I went ahead and got back from Bubfest.
Nobody
and
cares.
I care. I'm asking.
All right, while he talks about this, I'm going to run to the
Why-
bathroom. I'll be right back.
No, I sat here and, listened to Innie and all that. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. The minute I start to talk, oh, I got to go take a piss. No, actually, I'm doing really well. When I came back from Bubfest, I found out that my organization in the job went national without me knowing. So, whereas before I was kind of just taking a couple customer complaints a day and all that, now that's pretty much all I do
Oof.
all day.
Every day.
Yeah.
So you're taking escalations from like all over the country then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That must be fun.
Totally. I am
Really-
really challenged. I am pumped.
Your
Have you put a
expectations
feedback
for
in
the
your
human
office yet?
race, like they're going through the roof. You're loving everyone, right?
Yeah, and I got to meet my new boss. That was nice. He's a real chill dude. But no, overall, just been living the dream, working more than I care for.
I could preach.
Yeah. Went ahead and finally last week ran into a couple friends and like hung out with Color for the first time since Bubfest today. Or second time. Whatever. They're not as memorable as they once were. Yeah, she's gonna kick my ass for that later.
Sure.
Bub, have we met the creature on the cover of the Shackled City module that you posted on Twitter?
Oh, that's Nap the Tauren.
I kind of figured that's what it was. I just wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
that's my daddy.
Yeah, that's Nap the Tauren.
Okay, he's a lot more horrifying than I would have guessed.
Yeah. You mean despite
I
the several pictures I posted of him and said what Glabreezus were?
He looked totally different in those.
Yeah. I mean, a little, but
It's Big Daddy Natty.
Didn't have,
I'd agree.
like,
He's kind of more
dragons.
terrifying
Now-
on the book.
Yeah, he's got like the head of a dragon, the horns of I don't know, something
well,
terrifying.
I mean,
He's a lot more menacing when he's chopping someone in half.
if you actually look in the picture, he's just single-handedly swinging and shearing through a steel shield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just very casually.
And the minute he comes back, he's just flashing off that bub ass.
What?
I missed that.
I did too, but I'm not gonna.
That piss.
Annie,
that
you
piss
know you're
was.
gonna have to do it again now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you wearing the leggings?
I know what you're talking about.
I glance back over to stream just to go ahead and check on chat, and I see Innie there just groping his own ass on camera, making that shit bounce.
I dearly hope that you're wearing a dancer's belt or something of the sort, because otherwise, you will be out there, my friend.
Hey, Pulse, what's going on, bud? So, yeah, you got to remember, like, he may not look like all of your other traditional Glabrizus, largely because he ascended up the ranks, right? Like, he wasn't just your basic bitch Glabrizu, he was a demon general in an army. So, he kind of went through some shit. Imagine what that boot camp was like. Literal hell. All jokes aside, it was probably pretty awful. So, and then last but not least, how have you been, Austin? Quick, show everyone that you're still human. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah,
Everything is well,
much.
Earthling.
I have 2 A's and a B. That's pretty much the highlight of my life currently.
Ah, Bab.
Hey, look at that.
We all
Ronald
just rearranged.
he just fucked up his phone and it changed all the camera slots. I knew that was gonna happen.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize it was.
No, keep making work for Bub. I love it.
All right, now any one of the first 3 of us have to leave and then rejoin, so we go to the...
Wait. No, okay. The most recent achievement that I've had is within the past 24 hours, I sat down and played Aviary Attorney in one sitting. And it's a game.
Attorney?
It's a game where it's imagine essentially Phoenix Wright, but everyone's a bird, and you're in the 1840s and you're in France.
So it's Hatterful Boyfriend, but they took on Ace Attorney this time.
Significantly better than Hatterful Boyfriend, actually. In my opinion. I feel like the writing's a little bit better. And you actually get to deal with a lot of French politics, and you deal with, in particular, the Revolution of February the 14th.
Oh, those things that I needed in my bird games.
Yeah.
I would recommend it in its entirety. It's a
I
great
believe
game. Beyond that, that's all I do. I'm a bird attorney. Just on the
side. Klaus is so Klaus for how freaking long now? At least 100 sessions.
At least.
At least. Yeah. What up, Chris? What's going on, Kisa? Hello, everybody.
There was the before time.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
You could say that we refer to all of Shackled City time as BK and then AK.
What we're on 142, right?
Yep, this is session 142.
So for 126 sessions, I've been Klaus. Roughly.
That's a long ass time.
Yeah.
I would venture to say that most people never see that length of time of a character.
If you don't count out the, what was it, like 4 months I was out of the game? 4 or 5 months?
But you only missed about 10 sessions, right? Not even.
Less than that. It was single digits.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say it was like 7 or 8 sessions.
Wait,
yeah.
No, he did not die. Don't worry.
No, he's still alive.
This isn't a memorandum. This is just us shooting the shit. And on this day, Klaus died, and then came back again roughly 3 minutes later in a nearby vampire child.
Okay.
He's one of the vampire goblins now, and we have to try and be convinced that it's him and not just a vampire.
Who was your first character?
In this campaign, it was...
Rango.
No,
not Rango. That was the other game.
It started with a K.
Cromwell. It was Cromwell.
Yeah, Cromwell.
And Cromwell was a ranger as well, right? Correct.
That's back when we had Jimmy and Cicada, and...
Look at Christy knowing shit, even knowing the spelling.
She knows more than we do, trust me.
She's watched most of the episodes several times over, so I would assume so.
I'm very sure that is the case.
Not only that, keep in mind, she also went ahead and listened to it the entire way up to Bubfest.
And back, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. I think her trip back, she said that, there and back, she said she watched 8 or 9 episodes.
I'm like 95% sure that she's planning to kill all of us. In like incredibly ironic ways. No. It's gonna be like a thriller movie where every week we show up, one of us our camera comes on and we're just like dead in our chairs with some kind of witty note hanging down.
Great, I'm gonna have Frank on
Yep,
my chest.
that's
when I'm
right.
dead. I'm not okay with that.
5 weeks of your bodies just laying in the same spot. I hope you don't die first because
the cameras are going to come back on next week after that, and we're still going to be dead in the same spot for some reason. Like nobody played the body or anything, but we're still gonna be for at least 5
Whoa,
minutes.
whoa, Sloth! I gave you the option on whether or not to listen to my books on tape.
You did the Western books on tape thing again?
Yeah, because
I'm actually kind of sad I missed that.
It was great.
Anytime I'm on a road trip, I pick up a book on tape. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a Western. Because, hey, I like Westerns.
The
Big
one that
shocker.
we listened to was fucking strange, but...
Yeah, no, and then the
It's
one
kinda-
we listened to on the way back to his uncle's house was intense.
Are you talking about the
The guy with the
one
custom-made
samurai?
revolver? Yeah, and the
The one
samurai.
with- Yeah,
Yeah.
the samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, that one was great.
Yeah, I slept on my way back and my way there because I was in the plane.
Mm-hmm.
It was entertaining.
All right, I think I've got everyone's heads sized appropriately, which is great.
All right, everyone. Move
Well,
your
mine
heads.
needs to be bigger.
All right, let me.
It must
Everyone,
match my
quick
window.
switch to
Zoom
vertical
in.
video.
I'll kill everyone. So, without further ado, it's 8 o'clock, or just after. Let's start a sort of long-winded recap. It's been a long time since we played. It's going to help me, it's going to help you guys, and it certainly can't hurt the audience at all. So let's go through a bit of a recap.
Certainly, how far back you want to go?
Let's start talking about the things that are happening right now. The things that are happening in the story.
We're in a cave above hundreds of, if not 1,000, vampire goblin broods, just swarming around in a pit where we had traced the vampire children that we had let kind of fester in the city.
Yeah.
As we chased them, we showed up and they were like, "Shh, be quiet." And then Ronald was like, "Oh, hey, I see them. They cast light." And then we see everything.
No,
If I
it wasn't
remember,
light.
no.
It was daylight.
Daylight.
The Escanor sun orbital was like,
yeah.
oh, what it on?
And we had cut it off right at that point. Going
Yeah.
back a little bit more around the situation, Klaus is there as I am there as well. Inny is not there, and neither is Sniper,
Yeah.
because they both decided to stay in the bathhouse rather than come with, right?
I actually ran out the front door. I was headed towards the alchemist because I was going to get a potion to reverse the negative levels that I had. And I was trying to run over and find someone or something that could help me with that.
Right.
And
Yeah, and
I
Jacob's
just didn't want
probably
to.
hanging
I didn't want to
out
progress
as
further.
well.
Yeah, because you didn't want to join us because you and Ronald had an argument, right? Or not an argument.
Mm-mm.
I remember there was a disagreement of sorts.
He didn't want to go to the fire plane.
Correct.
That's what it was, the fire.
Yeah.
Well, no, Jacob just didn't want to do anything without wearing anything.
Yeah,
No,
like right
no,
this
no
second.
armor, no weapon.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Ronald was like, "Fuck that! I don't care. We're doing this now." And you're like, "Well, no."
Just no.
Cort followed. Klaus followed. We had gone under the bathhouse back into not the Clockwork Citadel, but
Drakthar's Way.
Drakthar's Way.
That's right. That's right. So
And,
there,
Twins Cave.
let's dial it back a notch. This isn't your first time to this location. What exactly is Drakthar's Way?
Well, it's Theoden's Quave.
It's Adon's quail.
It's the tomb of Casmogen.
Yes and no. Yes and no. It was not necessarily the tomb of Casmogen.
It was Casmogen's.
We fought him here, as we had also fought Drakthar, and there was
It's
Quite-
a series
quite
of
a-
connected caves that
yeah.
part of
Correct.
which
We
is Gizadrune, part of which is the Clockwork Citadel, part of which is this long, basically, tunnel almost. It's
I
actually
feel like,
This-
I
this
feel like
isn't-
we need to
This
point
isn't
out.
where you guys fought. This isn't where you fought Casmogen. It's where
It's where
you
we
had-
went so far, and,
It's where we fought him the second time.
correct. There was an encounter a second time through, but this isn't the original location that you fought Kazbajin.
No, it's a little
No.
bit further down.
He was in Malachite's fortress.
Yeah.
When I think they first
No,
encountered
we
him.
originally came here because there was a goblin infestation in the city, and we tracked them back to the bathhouse. And in sneaking into the bathhouse, hold on, sneaking into the
with a
bathhouse,
big
Yeah.
fucking hammer.
we managed to find that there was a crack in the basement.
Correct.
They were coming back and forth from, and the dwarven owner was charmed not to notice. As the flurry went through, they ran across plenty of goblinoids. They came across a black dragon, and finally they came across.
Slightly different than Black Dragon, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure it was black dragon.
It wasn't.
It was adolescent Void Dragon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, void dragon. Okay, sorry. probably
Slightly different.
terminology.
It's all right. It's all right. Not a big deal.
But yeah, that's when they came across
Drekthar.
Drakthar, and I got to introduce my second character for all of 2 rounds.
And
Yep.
then I cut him in half.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
so this place
Drekthar
has bad
cut me in
memories for me.
half.
That means I don't have the quickest death now.
No, I lasted 2 rounds. You lasted 1.
That's
Okay,
true.
but I
He
made it
lasted around
one
in
room
some change.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I traveled a room before I died. You died in that room.
He existed outside of combat, very briefly, but still he did.
The mage walks
He
in.
did-
What do you do?
he did exist
I jump
outside
down.
of
I chop his midsection in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Not
lasted
got out of a
technically
chest.
12 seconds.
Yeah, about that long.
That sounds about right. Like, that's on par for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Think all the women in your
No,
life
that's about-
have experienced that
Oh, that was
firsthand.
probably twice the time I need.
Well, glad we got that out. Thank you.
Oh,
It's never
dude,
out.
I'm making up for 4 weeks.
Now, that's the problem is it's always out, just only after like 6 or 7 seconds.
We still actually have some of our dead tokens here. Anyways. I know Cicadas is still over here, just chilling.
But no, that's what this place was originally, and in a second investigation, that's when they came across the Clockwork Citadel. I ran across the Clockwork Beast. I think this is the 3rd time they're coming down here.
It's the 4th. The 3rd time was when we walked in from the exit, in which we had walked as a party, except for Theodwin, who had went off into his own caves alone, only to find out that there were hundreds of almost like bats, but they're kind of like
Dire bats.
stingrays. They weren't dire bats; they were like stingrays that had like suction cups on their face.
Yeah, they went ahead and landed on your head, and then thwomp.
Yeah,
They were
Wrap
the
you in their
umbrella
wings.
version of facehuggers.
yeah, kind of. But there were hundreds of them littering the cave, like the top, kind of like bats do. At which point we decided, hey, let's not go here at all ever again. In which we're not breaking.
I just love how back then the answer to that was to hit yourself in the head.
I forgot to mention the little vampire goblins and children that are down here. If they have penalties while being in sunlight, like negative modifiers or dazzled or daze, that's what they're getting hit with as well.
Okay.
But they don't get destroyed or damaged by sunlight because it's not actual sunlight.
Correct. So, to give everybody an idea of what has physically happened in session, the players have arrived here at this location, which you can see on the map. It looks like it is a caged-off area, or at least there's a small sort of rope bridge, and you can see that much there. However, in this area that they've walked over, they saw what they believed to be the earth moving. It was shifting around them. As they draped 30 or 40 so feet above the area, someone had spotted the skeleton of the void dragon that they had once slain. One vampire moved her finger to her lips. This was a child. She said, "Shh." They didn't know what that had meant, And then they noticed that the earth was moving much like ants out of an anthill. It was moving too intensely. Anytime that they cast anything downward, it was quickly enveloped. However, sunlight revealed that they didn't just walk into a cave, they didn't stumble into a graveyard, they stumbled into a garrison. Completely filled to the brim with hundreds, if not thousands, of sleeping vampires that exuded similar traits to the vampiric children. See, the goblin threat was never extinguished. They were only able to tackle a large portion of them that was left above city.
We killed the vampire camel.
You killed Grimgrin. That is correct. You killed Grimgrin. But they left children, vampiric children, before they went off to seek Napthatorin in the wastes. They were last seen attacking what I believe was Jared Skellering in the Burning Bar, if you can recall. He was able to drop one of them immediately, and the others fled from his attack. Since that moment, the vampires have never been dealt with. They've just kind of been left to their own devices. So here they've festered, they've grown, they've committed many atrocities. Atrocities of which this town may pay for still. Let's just see what they make of it. They don't know how many are vampires. They don't know how often they've fed, what they've been feeding upon. But they have noticed that there has been a distinct lack of vermin in the area. Even if it is just a passive notion, they wrote it off.
And there are a lot less people in the city.
There are a lot less people in the city, that is correct.
Now, hopefully they're not like vampire goblins or anything in here, because Goblin Slayer would be popping up real fast.
Hopefully there's no vampire goblins. I can't tell if you're being ironic or you just didn't listen to the last half hour.
Well, no, you mentioned that the goblin threat had never been extinguished either. But
For a reason.
Mostly because we're failures, but yeah.
Actually, because they're crawling all over the ground.
And they're exhibiting traits of being vampiric in nature.
Vampire goblins.
Yep.
I'm just hoping.
The best kind of goblins, the ones that bite you.
All right. Okay. All right. So, here we are. Now, why are we down here again? Is it just because of the children? What prompted this adventure?
Ronald!
It's like he's telling, Dad! Ronald!
So essentially, Ulhime feels that he does need the help of his friends to complete his personal task at hand, which is forging this soul ore that he still has on him.
Yeah.
But essentially the group as a whole said we can't leave yet. We still need to fix the issue of the vampire threat, and there's other evils within the town that we need to take care of before we can go out and do this.
Definitely.
Whether or not the group knows it, Ulhime is still on a timetable that needs to be completed before any adverse effects happen. So he said, okay, well, if the vampire threat is something that's a problem, then I'm going to go deal with this now so I can get the help that I need.
Right.
Which is why they took their journey down into the bathhouse to essentially quash this threat. So this is less of a threat to you for very specific reasons. Why is that, Ulhime? Why are these... why is this threat less of an issue, specifically for yourself? As a cleric, good aligned. So
I'm thinking of a racial...
evil aligned. Oh, yeah, I know. Just one aspect is the positive energy that he has emitting from him.
Yeah, definitely.
Evil creatures like this don't necessarily do much against him, and he's favored against fighting them. On top of that, the fact that if he was to be bitten by them, he wouldn't risk spreading the disease. Correct.
There is no chance whatsoever of him taking upon the supernatural disease that is vampirism. Not even a single pinch of it. So, the others, this is a bit more of a threat. Ulhime could be bit all day long, and he'll never turn.
Yeah, but we will.
Correct.
Klaus might not. He's a lightning bolt. I will.
I mean, Klaus
His
still...
body's an old lightning
Klaus still has a body. and it's definitely still a threat. The
No,
last
actually,
thing...
Klaus can be a vampire for a select time.
He did technically turn into one. The last body he had did get bit, and it turned into a werebat of sorts.
Yeah.
Vampire bat werebat thing. Yeah.
We've run through the gamut of lycanthropy in this group. We've had...
Yeah.
I personally preferred the weresharks.
The wereshark. We've had a werebat. We've had...
My favorite will forever be the original land
shark. There was wererat, actually, at one point.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, cicada. And then the vampire. We had, what, 2 vampires? 2 vampires. One vampire.
Needless to say, the supernatural threat has been real for this group.
Sharkasi.
Yes.
You guys have certainly seen... You've seen some shit. So, why is it important for you to go to this elemental plane? Like, your character's pushing it pretty hard.
I need a primal flame hot enough to reforge the ore into a solidified form. As far as I know, if it's not reinforced, the ore itself goes bad, and I might actually die, or the energy flowing within me becomes so unstable that I start doing more harm to everyone around me.
Correct.
Then good. I put 2 healing spells together and tore open a dimension into a deity's plane.
Yeah.
So.
Not even what you initially had in mind. You were trying to heal a child, and then you happen to tear open reality into another plane of existence, of which I don't know you were not exactly welcome.
Close enough.
So I don't know if it's going to get worse, or if everything just kind of shuts off like an overcharged like phone or something, just overloads and
sure,
just power down.
Sure. So one of you guys had brought up that there are less people in the town. Given the newfound information, do you believe that the people of this town have been falling victim to the vampiric threat that lurked beneath the city, or are they all actually leaving?
A bit
Yes.
of falling victim to the vampire threat, on top of the fact that people are leaving a mass exodus at this point. There is way too much going on for people to...
There's taxes, there's rebellion, there's sharks in the lakes, there's fucking vampire children, there's people disappearing, there's weird cultists with doors walking around. There's a doorknob fetishist that's leading the guard. There's a whole bunch of shit.
Well, actually, most of those things that you said is accurate without, being completely meme-worthy. Yeah, it's mostly accurate.
There's, essentially the people that are left are the ones there to do business in the town, or they are the founders of it. So it's either nobles that are being protected on the guard's dime, or it's criminals that are openly conducting business in the streets because no one's left to really stop them, or they have other threats. So it's essentially the crimes that go on during the day are no longer regarded because there's threats in the night that are a lot worse to deal with.
Definitely. All right, so you need to make it to the elemental plane of fire and bring back a primal flame.
Yes, and I have 2 vials of fire giant blood to help hold the flame, so I can help light the forge that Dugobras has.
Yeah. Why didn't Dugobras just go back himself?
He is exiled from his plane, and he didn't want to risk being seen by his old tribe or clan and being attacked. So he essentially is honoring that exile, and he's refusing to go.
All right, and when you found Dugobras, he was working for Naphtatorin. What did you guys say or do to convince him to come back? I'm going to pass this buck back over to Sniper, specifically to Sniper about this, because it was your conversation. You went in and talked with him. What did you do? What did you say to convince Dugobras to come back and leave the efforts and effects of Naphtatorin?
I'm having a moment.
You can see the chromosomes slowly drifting away.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember who Dougalbras is, and I'm pulling an absolute blank.
Again, we were literally just talking about this.
Right. No, sorry. Okay, I had to actually move back through my mind. No, now that I'm remembering, this is a different character. No, you're talking about when I was Jared. No, Jared actually was sneaking up on a door while investigating the living quarters of some giants, and noticed that there was this heavy ringing. And as he was looking at the door, it kind of swung open, and he was kind of caught there, with just his sword facing a fire giant at his anvil with a flaming hammer, and it was like, he treated you really poorly, and I admire your work very well. He actually hired him to come away with the agreement that he was going to kill Naphtatoran.
That he was going to kill Naphtatoran. And how do you think this is going to fare for Jared Skellering when Dougalbras finds out that Naphtatoran isn't dead and he's walking around the city, that he left his actively wonderful smithy to come be in a steel-shedded hovel that lies next to a bathhouse?
Well, if he finds out, it's not going to be great for Jared. But then again, Jared never said, "Oh, we just killed him." No, he said, "We are planning to." So, come along, hop on. Now he's just got even more of a reason to go ahead and really back them up. Otherwise, it's going to be like, "Why'd you leave again? They said they'd kill you."
That's fair. Okay. All right. So we have this threat. Just for the people that are at home, what the hell's a Naphtatoran, and why is that a problem?
It's a Zoidberg-like creature that's 8 feet tall with 2 claws sticking out of its chest.
You can't be more wrong.
Naphtatoran's bad because he's 1, a Glabrezu, 2, a citizen of the Abyss, and 3, a demon general lord who's currently trying to go ahead and take over the world. Oh, he also happens to be my dad.
Bubs, the cameras might get knocked out real quick. I gotta call my dad for something real fast.
Oh boy. Go for it.
Bub looks pleased.
He was the last one in here, so he'll be in the same spot again after he leaves.
Hopefully.
Here's hoping.
So, yeah, what give me more than that. You hit like the vaguest points on the Naphtatoran scale.
Of why Naphtatoran is bad to have around?
Yeah.
Well, for
we can define that further.
The adventures of our party, he turned one of our teammates literally inside out, like her entire being, and then basically that person came back alive, warped back to being right side out. Right? Yeah? Not right side in? Right side out?
The outside was out, yeah.
That was your Aegis popped, saving your life.
But just for the pure fact that he basically went, and you're inside out. He does that. The other thing that he did is he then picked that same person up, which wasn't he, lifted him into the sky. What was it, 300 feet?
I don't remember.
600 feet? Something really high. Yeah. Then dropped him with quite a malevolent force. Beyond that, he's a pretty insane guy who likes to capture people, keep them on his belt, torture his son with prophetic wisdoms from the future, various things, He does like to be a good dad, though, and he gives his son very good presents.
Like legs?
Yeah. So...
Hey, leg. It was one leg, not plural.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about that leg for a moment. That wasn't his leg.
No, it most definitely was not my leg.
Whose leg?
That belonged to Rufus.
Rufus.
And from what we can assume, he was actually worshiping Naphtatoran. We were told there was a betrayer, I guess, in the church, and he seemed to be that person.
Do you honestly think that Rufus was the betrayer, though? Do you
I don't.
In this situation? Do you honestly think that Rufus had much of a choice?
No.
Probably. I mean, honestly, probably not. But I mean,
well, let's be fair.
He ate it
Rufus is now dead. We'll never know.
True.
Yeah.
True story. Rufus is now dead. As far as the plaything goes, he's gone.
Think he was the spy.
He wouldn't have had a chance to. He left the church long before Nab the Torn came.
And I mean, Nab the Torn already got into the church and burnt it down, so he got in there in the first place.
I don't think it was a spy, because I see Nab the Torn putting him back in the church again instead of ripping his leg off.
Yeah, rather than just murdering him.
If
the man
Rufus came back
for a few months.
If Rufus came back, he would still be accepted in the church and could be a spy again. I don't see Nab the Torn ripping a leg off of someone who might be an asset.
I agree.
He's just generally sadistic.
I agree to that.
Oh yeah, that's another thing to add on to his evil thing. He burnt down an entire church.
To be fair,
I mean, do you think that
burnt down a church?
Do you really think that that's on top of the worst things he's ever done as far as a demon general goes?
No, but I mean in current events.
Okay. All right.
No, I think probably the worst thing as a demon general he's done so far is killed Jared's brother.
I mean, there's also
like
the whole,
when it comes to impacting this particular party, that's probably the worst thing that's happened so far.
There's the fact that if you believe what he said, he then ushered you, completely controlling you from birth to set you to the line of events that would lead to the collapsing of heaven onto hell, in which all of the angels of Celestia would die, and you would be the precursor to said event.
Yeah.
Now, you see, that falls under more my fault.
You know,
I mean, this is where you hear him change from, I had no part in that, to...
I had no part in it. It was, he went ahead and directed him on the path. So, yes, you could go ahead and say, yes, he did all this. But if I weren't just a colossal fuck-up to start with...
Are you talking about your character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dude.
I just wanted clarification, man. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Yeah.
How old? I'm curious. How old is Jakob?
That's actually a very good question. I want to say that he's in his 30s, but I am going to...
I seem to remember him being introduced as being like 32 or 34.
Pulling up his sheet right now.
Yeah, because I think for my
27
age, a dwarf, you're...
Really?
Johan, we have...
Yeah, he's fairly young.
Walk with a limp.
Yeah, because for my age, I'm considered middle-aged for a dwarf, or almost going on middle-aged, and...
Sniper has the gangster lean because of his new
He's say that. How old was he again?
27.
27. Okay, and how long has he been in Cauldron?
6 months. Give or take. I think that's what me and Xander decided on. About 6 months.
And how long have you guys been in Cauldron in totality?
Like, the entire campaign?
Yeah.
I would imagine that they've only been in Cauldron for less than a year, because they've only had one ring season.
Overall, I would say it's a year or two.
I think 18 months is probably a safe bet.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a safe bet. About 18 months.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can say that ever since I brought my character in, things have been moving at a pretty fast clip.
Yeah, things have been moving pretty quickly.
Like 6 months tops. So it's a question of how much game time was played before I came in.
Right. Right, well, okay, so a couple of things while we continue to do this. The spiel for this game is, this is Shackled City. Shackled City was originally written as a 3rd edition module. It is regarded as one of the best written by Wizards of the Coast. I believe this was currently being written and deployed in Dungeon Magazine, but this is a D&D 3rd, 3.5, and Pathfinder OGL, courtesy of... Oh yeah, there it is, right on the back, Wizards and Paizo. Chris Perkins wrote this along with a lot of other people. There's a bunch of people that were involved in this, but this is not your standard RP. This is not your standard role-playing game. This isn't like you turn into Geek and Sundry for Critical Role. It's not like you turn into any of the other like larger production games. This is a bit more tongue-in-cheek. We're friends here. We play like friends at a table. We are not paid performers. We don't have experience with voice acting. We don't have experience with professional improvisation. Nothing like that. This is just friends sitting around a table, mostly dicking around.
Yeah, I think we're being a little generous with the Friends commentary, but yeah, I agree wholeheartedly overall with the rest of it.
You're right. We really just don't like you. It's the strangest thing. Still not sure why we keep your ass around.
You gotta have a whipping boy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Before it was Connor, if you remember, with Rook. Yeah, well,
I had a hard time giving him too much shit. Sniper, I don't feel bad about at all.
I still remember having to almost cut stream because his girlfriend's walking around in just her panties and a bra. I was like, oh no. Could have been real bad.
It's okay, that happened with Red's mom too.
Mm.
I don't remember. I think it was just a t-shirt though.
It was just a
I don't
t-shirt.
remember.
Yeah.
Everybody don't like me.
Who would report that? Melman, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So, we've been playing together. Most of us have been playing together for about 3.5, 4 years now. And this is the longest running game that I've ever ran. This is 142 sessions. Sniper still doesn't have an idea how loud he actually is when he's trying not to be loud after 100 sessions of playing with this asshole.
I'm just playing with my nuts.
Yeah, that's not new.
Usually that's a lot quieter. You might want to get those checked. They generally don't sound like Newton balls.
So there are a couple of things here that you guys can do to have an impact. Largely, you guys can spend your reputation earned to make a difference in this game. Perhaps you want to put in traps or monsters, weapons, things of that nature. Maybe you're not about that. Maybe you want to have a bit more of a dramatic impact in a way that affects the entire group as opposed to the individual. You can invest your reputation in the well. That explodes to the Bane and the Boon. We're still trying to determine what exactly the current Bane and Boon is. That, as it stands, will only affect this group. It looks like Boon had won previously, so I'll be contacting my creative group to help me decide what the Boon is going to be. Also, other impacts that you guys can have. Every time we hit a sub-count counter of 5 and greater at a time, so right now it's at 245, when we hit 250, which I'm going to change that now, we will put down a luck die. The moment that we hit 250, we will get a luck die, and it's going to look something like this, right there. We now have a cap. I put it up to a cap of a max of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 luck die. There can be no more than 5 luck rerolls over the course of the entire session. Luck rerolls do not bleed over. It is entirely up to them to use them in the session. If they do not get them later.
And trust me, I need those luck rerolls.
He does. He's... Well, I mean, he's still playing with his nuts, so... As you can tell, he's going to need as much help as he can get.
Celtic, if you want to give rep to the Bane or Boon, you have to ask for a wish, and then put in the amount of rep.
That's right, toss it into the well. You wish the amount down. You type in !wish, and then the amount. Just like that.
Stay a while and listen.
Hey, Kataro, welcome in. Or maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's just...
There it is. It's just dragging real slow. And you'll get a wish just like that. Just something back. Great attention to detail is both a blessing and a curse. Celtic going in deep with 35,000 rep. Yikes.
Yeah, and this is, I know, kind of a weird segue, but allow me to say, this is a really nice new backdrop.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got to get your guys' details still, but this is Kirk's iteration of what is to come in this chapter.
I'm rather concerned by the fact that some guy is in his own rib cage.
When I loaded up the stream, I saw it, and I had to do a double take because I forgot how to spell my character's name because it's been like such a long.
Don't
gap.
blame that on the gap.
No,
because never known how to spell your own name.
No, I've been adamant, and anytime someone asks me how to spell Cort, I'm like C-O-R-T. But then there was the doubt in my head when I looked at it today, and I'm like, is there a U in my name?
It's like when you read a word that you say a lot, but it looks
and
wrong when you say
you're
it
looking at it and you're like, that can't be right.
Here
and
is
then
a
you check and you're like, motherfucker, it's right.
primary example of what you can do with your reputation. Christy has given me 20,000 reputation. She's going to do something with that.
Something good, I hope.
Maybe. Maybe. Because at this point,
Another
someone
boy
else...
dragon on top of the vampires.
Someone else has given 80,000 reputation today.
Oh boy.
Yes.
80,000 is never good.
Can I be specific?
Negative.
Not when you wish.
Now, when you wish, that just goes straight to the well. When you give it to me, it goes straight to the goblin. Goblin Bolt gobbles it up.
82,000. Oh, and it was profit. That's never good.
Yeah, he actually picked something out. I get to take a look at it.
Oh boy.
Son of a crap. Maybe? Celtic, let me go ahead and just refund that back to you.
Yeah, Karami, my eyes always go wide in panic whenever I hear a lot of Repis drop.
Yeah, because people like fucking sniper.
Hopefully Christy's got some plans for that.
Christy's like, I want to insert potions that have needles in them.
Oh, God. You guys would still drink them.
I mean, we would.
No, Jared would.
Jared would pop open the top.
Jared would
right.
go ahead and pop the top and be like, oh my God, it's full of needles? Great!
I guess I need to know what I can do with my rep instead of throwing it about randomly. That's true. Check out the table. If you want to type in !table, you can check to see exactly what you can do with that reputation. That is the place that you can do that with. But as of right now, don't worry about quirks. Quirks are kind of shut off for a long time. So can I put in 5 CR4 vampire spawns? Yeah, you can.
And keep in mind that if you want to go ahead and do something special, unique that's not in the table, just asking Bob is a good start. Figuring out how much it's going to cost and see what he can go ahead and work with you on.
Truth. That is the easiest way. You can always write out to me in Discord. Just tag me or whisper me. And if there's something that you would like to try to do, figure out its cost or figure out how much you have and say, this is what I'd like to try to do. Now, if you have 11 reputation and you're like, I want to put in a fucking giant kick-ass dragon. No, save your rep until that 11 becomes like 11,000
million.
or 111,000, and then we can talk.
Come on, million, push it up. I don't want to fight no big ass kick-ass dragon.
BRB kick-ass, the baby kick-ass dragon. So you get a baby kick-ass egg.
Sloth, you don't want to do the same thing again. That's no fun. You mean various creatures.
Now, next time we play, we will have player stats and player blurb up that will cycle. I just didn't have that prepared. I got this overlay today. I was unable to put it in, so we're just going to deal with this in the bigger stat boxes for now. So, I think that's the spiel. I think that's all of it. Remember, guys, if you want to make an impact, if you want to make a difference, subbing, if it's a new sub, if you're trying to get back to being a new sub, it will have an impact. And the moment we reach 250, that's when it will unlock the luck reroll. Hey, Bub, what if one spends 40,000 rep and wants to crit heal the entire party? Would it count as one divine heal or not?
So like a crit mass?
Yes, it does. It will occupy a one heal. You can do a crit mass, but you have to accumulate the cost of healing everybody that amount. It's either one or all, not individual. Like, I want to crit heal 2 of them. Because
I think that's what he's saying for the 40k. Would he be able to just cure crit wounds mass with 40k?
8 times 5 is 40. It sounds right. You can crit heal mass.
Yeah.
You could do it. If I want to give 5 subs to hit 250, can I qualify that? The luck roll can't go to sniper? You definitely bet your ass can if you're going to make something like that happen. Blue Pike, you better believe I will work with you on that one, homie.
Sniper.
They
got 3 weeks of pent-up bullying in them.
My God, man. They're throwing me under the bus so hard I feel the bumps.
Sniper's the one that generally doesn't listen to anything that I say.
Mostly.
Yeah, it's
the headphones.
Jacob.
Oh,
headphones
yeah,
actually
I'm
don't
Sniper.
connect to anything, by the way. You just got the cord for show.
Actually connected to an iPod. He's just listening to.
Perfect.
I forgot
Fucking jam into some Western audiobooks over there.
Hi-ho Silver! Too good. All right.
I was gonna say he was listening to Take Me Home.
So if I put in...
listening to fucking Don Quixote on repeat.
So put in
Yeah,
5
I don't
vampire
actually
spawns.
listen to the game. I just randomly talk, and I get really lucky. So I'm just like watching stream. I see Bub.
Really lucky is a stretch.
Yeah,
Little
Bub
did we
starts
know Jared
talking.
was actually
Everybody
talking.
else stops talking, and it's like, oh, I should pay attention.
So-
What did I do again?
So one could actually spend 32k to critically heal everybody but Sniper. No, I'm gonna go with a one or all. As silly as it sounds, it becomes too much of a hassle to remember. I already have to watch how much people spend because sometimes people will spend way too much, or they won't spend enough. It's kind of trickles around that way. But will rep be returned or a spiffy item be carried over? I would hate to waste my savings of rep for a completely missed item. If you put an item into the game, it stays in the game, right? Like it's there. That doesn't necessarily mean that the players get it. Like if you want to put in a Vorpal sword, just for instance, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a care package dropped off directly into their backpack. Sometimes it means that the players have to find it. Some people have spent a lot of reputation to make sure that things get put into the game. For instance, Breast McBest has spent probably around 800,000 or 900,000 reputation making sure that the players get kick-ass items, and they've gone through them consistently.
Well, no. I mean, a couple of the characters survive and have them, but they just retired.
Bob, can I spend all of my rep and make Jakob the size of a halfling permanently? Negative. Quirks are no longer on the table. We put those off the table for very obvious reasons. Unless they're already playing a halfling, they generally don't want to. Only I have the permissive power to manipulate their size, even at their behest and lack thereof desire. Corrector ring is still in the game.
Yeah. Believe it or not, you're going to have a lot more fun in the game if you're not trying to be a dick.
Yeah.
You know, you can rag on me all you want, just don't try and kill my character like Sloth does.
If there's one thing that I've learned, the moment that you start manipulating people's physical traits in the game, even if it doesn't do anything to them, they lose their fucking minds. Like, you change someone's gender. Has no explicit carryover physical trait stat change whatsoever in the game, but the moment they have to pretend to be a female, they lose their goddamn mind. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I know.
He's looking at one of us.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking of you, honestly. I was thinking of Jared.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I agree with Jared. I hate, if I have a character in mind, I want that character to be that character.
Wait. Are we talking about my Jared or Canadian?
No, Jared. The same
GD,
one who got
yeah.
black rot balls that turned into black rot axe wound.
Yeah.
Such a gross way to describe genitalia.
Well, you know.
It was not good.
I've got no words for Austin, generally. But why though? But why though? Oh, fuck. Things we ask ourselves regularly, Sofarian. Why though?
Kataro, there is actually a belt of giant strength that is generally known as the belt of gender swap. It's kind of a popular gag mechanic that nobody likes.
If you can put a curse onto an item, we can justifiably put it into a game easily.
God damn it!
Literally one of my favorite items put into the game was gloves. It was
The gauntlets.
+2 gauntlets, steel gauntlets.
Yeah. But if I didn't speak in questions, I punched my. No, if I asked a question.
If you asked a question, you hit
The
yourself.
gloves would make me roll an attack against myself, in which I would punch myself in the face repeatedly throughout a session.
It's pretty
Thank
funny.
you, Tree.
It was pretty fucking funny.
No, I agree. I would infinitely prefer that. Shit like that. I
what
can't
got
be
me
mad
is
at
that
That's
even
creative.
after he figured it out, he kept them.
No,
He's just
because
like-
I couldn't take them off.
You couldn't take them off. It was cursed. It was a cursed item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's like I mean I can be
But-
mad at that, but that's creative.
After he figured it out, he did keep asking questions, so it didn't exactly deter him.
It wasn't so much the fact that he realized what was going to happen. It's just he just forgot.
No, like there were times where I'd forget, and then there's times where like I don't care. I'll take
Yeah.
it. I'll take the fucking 3 damage to the face to ask a question.
No, I thought it was amusing the entire time, especially when he asked like 4 questions in a row.
Yeah, no, I
Oh
agree.
my god, he just fucking haymakers himself over and over again. Jesus, that was the
See,
best.
Like, that's the kind of stuff that we can actually find fun with, that we can like have a good time with, rather than, oh, well, now your character has to yell throughout the entire time.
Or now your spells don't do what they're supposed to do.
Woohoo! Wild magic.
Wild magic is funny once every 25 or so sessions.
And not even then. It was funny the very first time we used it, and never again.
I thought it was awesome, pretty much every time.
I had a great time when we were inside.
We have a lot of good stories with wild magic.
And
You're the one that nearly died because palm trees sprouted up in a room. And you were pissed at me for like 4 sessions after that.
No, I was pissed off with chat. I was fine with the palm trees. I was more upset that I lost my scythe in the palm trees. Yeah, I mean, we got the giant iron invisible snake.
Dungeons and Dragons. That was probably what session.
That was a clusterfuck that I'm glad finished.
That.
Oh, that reputation came from Chrissy. It was a 1 crit potion for everyone. So 5 cure crits, again, for everyone, even though most of you already have at least 7. Those of you that have less, obviously you stand too far close to the flame.
I had 7. I now have 8.
Make that 8.
Right?
Yeah.
8 cure crits.
One of us is going to get hit with something, and then we're all going to shatter. And it's going to be like, oh, well, there's 100,000 rep on there.
Hey, hopefully the glass will pierce you enough to where it'll absorb into you at that point.
My bag will always be full health.
That's good, because we've had a problem with backpacks that come to life.
I can just see Klaus in the future. Like, something's going to happen. It's going to shatter all the potions in his bag. He's going to be about to die. He's just going to be cutting off strips of leather, chewing on the leather. Like, nope, I'm going to get... There's at least 1 point of health.
So
like
everyone got one?
elderly people.
Does he get fast healing if he just has one like lodged in his like?
Fast healing one for just constantly gnawing on a piece of his bag.
I'm not a fucking redneck chipmunk. I'm not gonna keep
just starts shoveling into his mouth. This man's eating his backpack, but he's got a gaping wound in his chest. That's why he's eating his backpack.
You can see it closing.
What is it? Vitality that restores 1 hit point after you fall unconscious?
Permanent. No. Will, we got to go ahead and play it that Klaus is now just like Red Dead Redemption Klaus. Give him a cowboy hat and he's just chewing on a piece of leather all day. Give him a drawl.
Every time he walks near a horse, he gets kicked in the fucking face. That game's controls are really fucking frustrating.
I feel like this is more of a personal problem for you.
Oh no, it's not.
Too good, man.
Oh shit.
All right. Well, now that we've had a fucking good laugh, a real good laugh. Let's kick this off, okay? What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's actually start playing.
As I'm backed into a wall of my own death.
All right. Let me find.
I suppose we could play. I mean, why not?
Oh, shit.
Let's find the appropriate tones. I'm gonna turn you off, and I'm gonna turn you up.
Well, I mean, it is a bit of a horror reveal.
Okay. Situation stands. My friends, not all of you are there. This is currently Cort, Ulhime, and Klaus, correct? You stand in the garrison, previously known as Drakthar's Way. 30 to 40 feet below you, in the open area where a void dragon had been slain by some adventurers previous to you, well, previous to some of you, are some children. Not just any children, they're vampiric children. They were left to do whatever it is that they damn well pleased in this town when our intrepid adventurers had flee. Well, now let's come back to bite you upon the ass. Because they stand here, laying in wait, in that garrison, where there are an uncountable, an unfathomable amount of goblins. Their skin taut, draped over their skeletons. Their angular teeth seem only to be sharpened and heightened by their newfound abilities. They lie in wait. Vampires. How many of them are there? You can't count the masses. They move and scuttle about, shaking fearsomely on the ground. Now, our friend here, Ulhime, you have cast Daylight, granting them negatives. Negatives. But what do we know about numbers? They have simply more of them. By a long shot. You could wade in, and maybe, with luck of the dice roll, kill 50, 60 of them with your abilities, but they would eventually take you down. Not that you're really worried about it, Ulhime. However, your friends? Not so much. They wouldn't walk out of this as easily. Particularly Cort. Cort doesn't seem to have the same abilities of yourself. Or even Klaus, for that matter, which is an entirely different ballgame. So what do you do now that you've cast Daylight above you?
Their reaction, are they like, you said they were freaking out because of the sunlight, right? Or the daylight spell that was cast?
Yeah, they're fleeing away from the area, but remember, your Daylight, what is the radius of that? If you could hit me with that, please. Daylight is 60 feet. Yeah, so basically it clears in the orb 60 feet up to around you. So they sort of build up to this momentous wave around this area. They seem to sort of stack upon themselves. They begin to shift. It's sort of like watching World War Z, and you know how the zombies can kind of scale up around you and like on top of each other, forming like a fence of sorts. That's sort of what's happened, but they're doing this almost natively, like their body is pushing for it before they even can react.
Yeah. Seeing that there isn't a way that we can fight all of them, at least not in this area. Looking back to Klaus, I'll turn to him and Cort. Start heading back. We gotta leave now. And then I'll start backing up. And I'll have my weapon drawn.
As he's sort of backing up and beginning to perform a full retreat, I'll kind of catch him and say, there's no better chance than now. We'll never find them this clustered again.
So you wish to stay and fight?
I think I have an idea. I certainly don't need either of you to be in harm's way, but I think I've got a plan.
I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about you two.
I'll be just fine. Trust me.
Klaus, you are aware of what this means from where you stand. Cort hadn't quite made it over to this area, so he doesn't really know what's quite down here just yet. His mortality...
I just heard fucking ditch.
His mortality is definitely a point of question, where you are aware that you can spring from body to body, and while this body has granted you some abilities of which you've never quite fully expected, the world didn't quite expect this, you know that this may mean quite a bit more to the young and very impressionable Klaus, based upon the decisions that you make here and now. And as you're saying this to Xander's character, to Ulhime, you express, I have an idea. Even through the daylight that emanates from this orb floating above his clenched fist, you can hear the childlike laughter that seems to radiate from the dragon's bones itself.
Listen, you should both at least back up a ways. I don't know exactly what will happen, but I know that you two fare a lot worse chance than I do in this particular case.
Klaus, grant me a perception, please.
Can do.
Nice.
Sure enough, where this hadn't been quite the situation previously, you are looking around, trying to take in the surroundings as much as you possibly can. And previously, when in Drekthar's Way, you had dealt with creatures that clung to the ceiling. You recall this. So naturally, your body reacts, like you glance up, but what you weren't expecting to see as you glanced upward. Near and around the stalactites, the ceiling dances quite similarly to that of the floor. There are creatures that move, ambling amidst the hanging bits of stone. Some of them reddened eyes, teeth chittering. They seem to be roughly the same shape and size of the goblins that you had seen. However, their skin seems to drape more so like a bag around them. If they were to grow taut, they could quickly glide down upon you. The only thing that's keeping them at bay at this point is the daylight.
How far would you say it is from the floor to the ceiling in this big chamber?
80 feet? I want to say 80 feet. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty tall. Yeah, I'm gonna continue to urge them backward. You two should go at least a ways.
Is there still steam here?
Oh yeah, there's still the steam vent has kicked up and has gone into full brunt of steam. It's still just in consistent blow right now.
Yeah.
I will stand with you. I will not retreat, and I'm not going to leave you behind.
Guys!
Whatever plan you have, implement it, but I'm not running. And I'll start backing up off the bridge. As I start backing up, I'll yell to Cort. Cort, keep your weapon out the ready.
Cort seems to have backed about 5 to 10 feet away from what seems to be a steam vent that is ushering out an almost endless wave of steam that would certainly scald his skin, would cause significant damage.
Cort, after hearing to ready his weapon, will turn his back towards the steam and kind of just pull out his sword. How dark is the hallway that we're in, aside from the daylight? Because I know the chamber outside is glowing quite bright.
I mean, you're getting some bleed back through, but the moment that he re-enters the chamber, it illuminates entirely. You see every bit of this.
Okay.
So I'll stand just a little behind Klaus and wait for him to implement whatever he's going to implement.
All right. Well, here goes.
This can't go well.
It can.
It can.
So.
It'll be fine.
Remember when we had the idea of Ronald walking in here and big banging all of them? You're now the one walking in here and big banging all of them.
It'll be fine. When has anything Klaus done gone south?
The aforementioned
literally not even a single time.
The Bandersnatch
See,
that got
100% success rate.
The giant iron snake.
So, for my first move, a little bit of elemental body 2 for you.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Take on the form of a air elemental, medium size. The fun thing about elemental body is, as an air elemental, I have the ability to create a whirlwind.
Okay.
Yep. 10 feet wide at the base, 30 feet at the top, and it's 30 feet tall.
All right.
Go so wrong.
So let me read you a little bit of what whirlwind does here.
Please do.
Did you just make a vampire NATO?
Vamp NATO.
All right, I'll stand
You'll
at the
see.
top of the cave door. You send him into my sword, and I'll hold it straight like a lightsaber.
Spell creates powerful cyclone of raging wind that moves through the air at a speed of 60 feet per round. Yeah, it's a little gross. Any large or smaller creature that comes in contact with the spell must succeed on a reflex save or take 3d6 points of damage. Any medium or smaller creatures that fail their first save must succeed on a second one or be picked up bodily by the cyclone and held suspended in the winds, taking 1d8 points of damage per round. This lasts for 1 round per caster level.
So 11 rounds of Tornado Doom.
12.
Nice.
Okay.
Now, what if this doesn't kill them with the 3D? What is it, 3d6?
It's 3d6 followed by 1d8 per round.
If they're suspended.
Yeah, if they fail both saves and are caught up.
What kind of save do they have to make? I'm guessing it's reflex.
It's reflex.
And what is that?
That will be. Let me look at what my. Are we treating this as a 5th level spell like Elemental Body, or what's the ruling there?
I mean, it should be treated. It should kind of give you an example of what it's doing.
Well, the thing is, the whirlwind spell is, I think, level 8.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
So
it's a druid level 8 spell. So I mean, if you wanna.
Here, I want to try something first and foremost. You are casting Elemental Body, correct? Or is this...
Correct.
Alright, so it's something that you're actually casting.
It's, I take on the Elemental Body form from the spell, and then I'm able to create the whirlwind.
Poofing into a cloud.
Okay.
Suddenly Bob Ross just painted you into existence for
a
moment.
The moment that you begin casting a spell, the children at the ready begin moving up, and you hear them almost in unison returning a very similar sound back. It seems very odd to you because no one ever really taught them the ways of magic, or at least you believe that to be the case. The moment that you begin to cast this spell, you feel that your limbs, your digits are starting to shift into this this smoky, almost unclear or opaque-like fog for this elemental body. But as this begins to happen, they seem to finish out their round, and your body stops. Your skin goes back to being just the way that it was. Give me a spellcraft, please.
Okay. At 20.
You can very clearly identify that whatever they're chanting in unison is counterspelling your ability. It's stopping your willful polymorph.
Well, that's shitty.
Do you say anything to your allies?
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna... as flustered as I am, I'll manage to get out. It's not working. Something they're doing. My spells aren't working like they're supposed to.
Bub.
Yes.
How corporeal is he? Because I know you said he's like somewhere like in that half stage.
No, it's like it started with his hand, but the spell.
So he's turned like into Johnny, like the Human Torch, where he's like getting up to here, and then he's like, oh shit.
But then it goes back. It returns back to a full material flesh.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, you go. I'm just thinking.
As he says that, I'll grab him by the shoulder. Back up. I'm gonna destroy the bridge. We need to get out of here now.
Okay, how long does your daylight last? Is this something that you have to focus upon? It's 10 minutes per level. It's 10 minutes per level, actually.
Yeah. It's a bright sunny day for that.
Yeah. So does this maintain in spot? Oh, it's an object touch. What did you touch?
My arm. I cast it on
the gauntlet.
On the gauntlet itself. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I'll motion Klaus back, and then I will use the mace of the ram and swing at the base of the bridge.
Sure, it doesn't really take a lot. You're able to break off bits of the stone where it's been driven in, and the rope seems to swing flatly and fall down into the living, roving garrison below. However, since you've managed to tunnel this down, it seems like it's only granting light pretty much shotgun directly across the open mouth. So now you can see that there, as you're starting to pull back into this cave, this tunnel that has been naturally brought about, you can see that there are fingers that are draping around the opening to this area that you guys have just been in, and you can hear the chittering of teeth, the waiting of creatures. The goblins are hungry.
You said the steam vent is still roaring right now?
It is currently, yes. You know that it doesn't last forever.
I thought I cast Endure Elements on you guys to walk past it without getting burned?
I can't recall, to be honest. It's been 5 weeks since we last played.
Hold on, let me
Is
see.
it in the? It would be in the chat log, I think.
I have a cast of it, so I will use. Oh shit! Will it drop?
What, your daylight? No, it will not.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll cast Endure Elements on Cort and Klaus. So as we're walking back, I'll place my hand on one of them,
okay,
and then have the spell jump over to Cort as well, and I'll give them the Endure Elements so they can at least withstand the heat of the vents.
Sure, sounds good. The moment that you cast this and you can see yourself turning, you grant a brief, what looks like almost reprieve from the daylight as you begin to turn, because it requires components, verbal or somatic, whatever the case be. You turn briefly to cast this upon your allies, and when you do, it pales and there creates a shadow. The moment that this happens, you can hear the clawing and the scraping of goblinoid claws that seem to rake inward to this hallway. And as this occurs, I'm going to take a brief moment here, and I'm going to need a small bit of initiative, please. Okay, all right. Hey, that's pretty good.
Not the danger bongos. Oh god.
All right. Moving forward, when you guys go ahead and roll your initiative, make sure you click on your tokens first, and we'll auto set you in. Cort should be at.
Yeah, it worked for me.
6.
I'm always clicked on my token, so.
It didn't work for you.
It is. It's right there at the bottom.
And why does it have you in initiative twice? That's bizarre. Oh, it has multiples of you in here twice. Okay.
Does it? I
Klaus,
see me,
Jen.
Jakob, Ulhime, Klaus, and me.
Yeah, it does on my side. It's fine. Ulhime had a 16. Close that.
See, heaven understands.
And I had a whopping 20. Okay. I'm first in initiative, so it's going to go like this. The way that this happens is the moment that you turn and you grant this reprieve, they fall down upon you, and they immediately start raking claw and taking bites of your body. They move with unnerving speed, these small bits of almost skeletal-like goblins. Their skin dressed upon them like thin leather, almost like a trash bag of sorts, the way that it hangs, because they're not as puffy and bulbous or fat like they once were. Now they're just gaunt, these skeletal frames just draped inside of the skin. The moment they move in, though, they make their attack. What is your AC, my dear Ulhime?
17? Whoa. 17. Oh, yeah, 17.
Thank you. Okay. I've got to do this on the fly because statting several hundred to 1,000 vampire goblins is obscene to think of.
Are you saying that that's time consuming?
Hey, you know what? You got it, my guy. Okay, there we go. So, 2, 8. So we're going to give him a +5. Natural attack. Here we go. They all move up, and their teeth are unable to break past your natural dwarven thickness, right? Like this, your skin is so palpably dense that they're unable to just bypass it. Or your clothes, or perhaps they had moved over to try to bite through your gauntlet, your pauldron and shoulder piece, and they're just unable to get through it. So they're basically biting down. You can feel their weight kind of pile over you, which is almost ridiculous in its sensation because they may be 7 to 15 pounds apiece. I mean, you've had more dense bowel movements than some of these things. So, Ulhime, it's your turn.
How many of them are on the door right now? Are attacking me?
Attacking you specifically, 3 of them.
3? Okay. Well, I guess if they were trying to bite down, I would have the mace in front of me, like, as I guess they were all trying to attack.
Yes.
And then, I'll try to go for, like, a pushback, like, to push him back, for one of my attacks. It was technically a bull rush, to push him back, like, 5 feet.
Okay, are you trying to activate your use of the ram?
Yeah.
Alright, go for it.
So I will use all 3 charges and shotgun them right back out the fucking corridor.
Alright, sure.
Let's see for the roll. Oh my god. Okay, so the first someone's watching a movie or something. First attack is 17, 18, 19, 20, so it's plus 3 for the hit. So yeah, 20, and then it would be with the damage 13 plus 3, so 16 damage, and then they're shot back 15 feet.
Sure. Basically, from the mouth of the cave, you let loose, you kind of sling them over you, and as their bodies kind of fall flatly just over your shoulder, you whip them, and as they're beginning to kind of claw themselves back up, you see others starting to scale in. You bring down your hammer over the top, and it sends this cacophonous wave, this very visible pang of noise. It just launches them straight out, like right. It funnels them directly out of the mouth of this walkway. You hear them kind of like flying offward. Several of them also go soaring off from the mouth of the opening itself. We move on to the next person, unless you have something else that you'd like to do. Considering you didn't activate your entire round.
Because that was just one attack, right?
Yeah, just a single attack.
After that, I will cast Aura of Protection. Oh wait, no, that'd be a standard action. I can't do that.
Correct. You have the equivalent of a move action left.
Then I will hold until my party starts moving.
All right, Klaus, you just witnessed this event firsthand. What do you do?
Can I pee myself and go into the fetal position? I'm feeling like that's where I'm at.
Yeah, you certainly can.
You have Endure elements on you, so you can go through the steam without getting hurt if that's what you need to do.
This is true. However, I also have a teleport spell. I would like to call out to my allies on me and begin casting this, and hopefully not actually release the spell until they're all touching me.
Yeah, I'll if that's the case, I can lean back into him. Well, I'm like less than 5 feet away from him, so yeah, I'll just do
yeah,
that.
Sure.
You're within grabbing range.
Is that
Or
standard?
And maybe a little further.
Full round? How does that going to work for us here?
I can throw it in chat.
Please do. Standard action, 1 casting time, but only requires verbal components. It's kind of awesome. Range is personal and touch, so your allies need to be touching you.
Yep.
All right. It is instantaneous. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and roll this. I've got to take a look. I've got to look at their saves.
I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Go for it. All right. Okay. Oh, wow. That's actually pretty good. In order to resist his daylight... Okay, so they just take negatives. All right. Sure. We're gonna go ahead and see what Cort's gonna be doing at the same time. I'm curious, Cort, as he's casting the spell, what are you gonna be doing?
Fuck, man. I don't want to be attacked by fucking goblin vampires. My god.
As much shit as you guys give me for fucking up words, we're over here in Thwaedin's Quave, and the Gombly threat is...
I got Theoduin right. I don't know how I got Theoduin right, but I got Quave. I've been drinking a little too much Jose Cuervo. I'm sorry.
Well, quick wound now.
Oh fuck me. I don't fucking know.
What happened?
Nothing.
He's preparing to cast his teleport, and Cort. We're trying to find out what Cort would be doing at this time. It's not going to be very long, mind you. It's only going to be like 3 to 5 seconds, but still, in this time, we need to find out.
I'm thinking he might try to go past the steam barrier. That's what I'm.
Knowing that your allies just said on me.
See, that's what I'm. No, I guess he wouldn't. Yeah, no, I guess he'd come in closer, I guess.
All right, sure. I mean, it's not like you guys are that far anyway, but you go ahead and you shift your body inward. As you begin to cast your spell, some of the other goblins are beginning to crawl up the wall, and they are resisting the daylight. It seems that like they kind of pull away briefly, but a few of the braver ones immediately start moving in. They're like basically dashing in like hounds. Some of them scour the sides of the stone wall like crawling in. Others are literally like pushing their way forward like a hound or a bear might, and they're dashing directly at you. Klaus, as you finish your spell, as you're rounding that out, you can already tell that Ulhime is trying to do something about this. Like, he's preparing to make an attack. But if he loses his grasp from you, he may be lost down here forever. Do you prevent him from doing anything?
I'm gonna hold on as tight as I can to both of them.
Okay.
I'm not using a spell. It's my last channel energy special ability.
Sure. Okay.
As we're getting teleported, put the gauntlet out and just channel positive energy.
Sure. And you can retroactively change this away from healing allies to damaging enemies.
So damaging undead. Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Give me some numbers.
28.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. Sure enough, you find that the moment that you drop this 28 positive energy, it seems to almost immediately like turn some of them to dust. They're like scattering across the walls, and you see that like their face immediately beginning to kind of peel off from the divine energy. The bone, the oral, and you can clearly see like the nasal cavity is just starting to like peel away. It's like full Thanos, man, just shredding him down to his smallest bits. But one of them seems to just make it past, and you can see his face is just torn halfway off. It looks like his eye is puckered down into this globule inside, and it seems to kind of bleb its way forward. It takes a leap with what looks like some half-stumped arm, and the moment that you finish your spell, you're teleported. Where do you go to, Klaus?
Because it's where I probably know the best at this point, the tip tankard.
Oh.
Or at least right outside the door.
Okay, alright. Go ahead and give me a 25% range you do not want.
25%?
Yes.
Into the vampire dragon pit. Teleport us from the cave into the hole.
Well, thankfully that's not how the actual spell works, but let's see. I'm gonna go with 30 to 54.
85. Okay. You appear just outside of the tankard itself. The moment that you do, however, the creature had been touching Ulhime. The single one that's had its face just like pulled away and just shredded into bits. All that really remains is like half of a jaw and the little bits of teeth from above. This creature is not really hanging on by much as it is, but the moment that it appears outside, it glances around, tries to take a nip at you, and you're like and it tries to run away immediately. A free half undead goblin in this town could mean for very bad things. So we're gonna go back to the top of initiative. That's me. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run fast.
It with the mace?
It's a disengage. It's trying to basically flee at this point. But you can try to catch up to him, Ulhime. What do you do?
I'll move. I'll chase him down, and I'll cast a. Let's see. I'll burn a 4th level cure critical.
Oh my.
I'll burn my spell immunity, and I'll convert it to cure critical.
Okay. You have a cure critical.
Yeah, I'm converting one of my spells over. Spontaneous casting.
All right. And are you healing yourself? Tell me exactly what you want to do with this.
No, I'm casting this on the.
So you're gonna go for the range. Okay.
Yeah.
He gets a chance to resist it, doesn't he?
Correct. Will save is gonna be 7 to resist for half.
I got a 23.
That's 5d8 plus my spell level is 11.
It should be 4d8. 4d8 plus your spell
48,
level.
Sorry,
We're just going to take off that last one. It's fine. Okay. 2, 4, 3, 4. So 8 and 5. We've got 13 and 11. So 24, half 12. Okay, the moment that your range ability falls down over him, go ahead and you dictate. Tell me what happens. I want to pass this back to you.
Oh, like we were talking about before, how Gauntlet has this like ability to extend and change the shape. Just kind of thinking back, like I'm not gonna have another evil escape tonight. Did you see it grow in size into like the ore can that he had, and just grabs on the back of him, and you literally just see like it's kind of like a pyramid of gold light just shoot through his chest, and then it just starts spreading slowly and slowly and just starts evaporating.
Okay, so you have this like almost mold projectile pyramid just kind of pierce down through the chest, and
yeah,
you said it seemed to almost like extend.
So like the moment it connects with him, you just see the positive energy slowly like eat away at him, like it's disintegrating him.
Sure. The moment that it
center.
connects, it seems to almost start to devour what remaining undead flesh happens to be over this creature. And as this happens, it seems to almost fall apart like decay from your touch. At first, you see the remaining stump of the arm kind of fall off to the side, and it seems to move. A leg drops away, and you see the toes kind of like kick and spurl, and then the head sloughs off. Just basically drops from the body as you almost basically make him full Rayman at this point. So, combat comes to an end with your ranged spell, exhibiting these new abilities in front of your allies. Not really sure what to expect of you.
Cort might be the first one to speak up. What was that? Like, I remember there were the vampires in the bathhouse, but what were those?
You see Ulhime pick up the mace and shoulder it. Those are still vampires.
How are we gonna deal with that? He's just gonna kind of like slump and sit down for a minute and just kind of think.
You're muted.
Me?
Thank you. No, me. We need to plan better, first of all, but those children, they're powerful. They need to be taken care of, isolated if possible.
Agreed.
Can we at least go get everyone?
And do what?
I don't know, but if we don't have everyone, how's that going to help us?
Your statement's true enough, but there's nothing we can do this night. And morale in our group is already low enough.
You've noticed that people are curious enough to see what exactly had caused this epic amount of light, this basically divine spike of holy day appear in the middle of town, no less around a bar at this point of the evening.
He'll shut off his bolstering aura as he starts seeing the people starting to view him.
Sure. I mean, you still are not very well dressed.
Yeah.
And you have a glowing arm that is entirely armored. So as far as...
I'll shut off the daylight spell as well. No need to keep that going either.
Plus the golden coronas that encase your eyes.
Yeah.
Can't really shut that off. That being said, you notice that a handful of people are starting to move in the direction of the decayed body of the vampire children.
As they start moving closer to it, I'll look over to Klaus. I'll clean this up. You might want to find a place to rest. I'll use my first level spells.
Okay.
And just the last few parts, convert them into channel positive energy, and essentially touch attack all of them, and just burn them away.
Sure. You have realized the utility in numbers. If you would please give me a wisdom, please. D20 plus your wisdom modifier. Ulhime, you realize that there isn't really a ton that you're capable of doing with these adventurers. Your numbers are outfitted, even with Dugabras, at a maximum of 5. So...
We need an army.
Yeah, you could afford to have an army of individuals with you. Or it could stand to mean much terrible for this town. Much horrible events for this town. That being said, who's going to believe you?
Well, that would be the guard captain.
The guard captain?
The new guard captain, who seems to have been well versed in the situation that's going on. Outside of that, I mean,
you may have some experience with...
Ulhime doesn't know anyone else, really?
With Jared Skellering, but it's an easier sell trying to convince someone when you have proof.
So, I say if I'm going to burn off all the limbs away, I'll keep the skull.
Okay.
And, I mean, don't really have anything to bag it with, but I'll pick it up and start making my way back to the bathhouse.
When you attempt to grab at the skull, the moment that your digits seem to sink into the skull itself to try to hoist it upward, it seems to almost supernaturally try to bite down. Like still, even in its second death,
yeah,
it's trying to feed.
Disgusting. Cort, Klaus, let's go. What are we gonna draw out here?
Cort's gonna kind of sigh and then follow.
I understand you're mad, boy. You may be scared. And both of these emotions are fine. But cowardice isn't something we need. Do not run from this. Learn from it and grow from it.
You've never really had anyone immediately test your pride or humility, at least in this regard, especially someone as new to you as Ulhime. Nobody's ever said that you've exemplified bravery. Nobody's ever exclaimed that you've been expressly a coward. So when he declares this to you, Cort, I imagine it would sort of strike your character very interestingly so.
Yeah. It's not that I didn't want to run. We were outmatched. And trust me, I know my way around a fight. There's no way we would have won that. And while I'm okay with dying, if it's for some kind of cause, be it if I have to, I'm not down to die for a fool's errand.
Agreed. Agreed, boy. We have a lot of work to get done, and it's going to take time. I just need to know that you're going to be here when the call is going to be given.
Yeah. As long as it's not suicide mission.
Klaus, you see this figure that has declaratively stated his name as Helm, which you only know him as Ulhime, in no other way. He seems to pick up this goblin's head and almost place it to his backpack, or try to place it in a way that is disguised from the every viewer's eyes, but still not in a way that's going to damage much of the head. I imagine that would still also be a little concerning for you as well, unless you've sort of envisioned why he might be doing that.
Who's this?
Ulhime, is there a particular reason that you're keeping the skull? I mean...
I think it's time this town's made aware of the troubles that have befallen it.
No, you're not
They need
wrong
to know.
there.
Their ignorance doesn't do them any good. They may be farmers, they may be housewives, husbands, children. There are very few guards and soldiers left in this town. We need to turn them into warriors, or at least people that aren't just victims. They need to be able to fight. They need to see this.
If they'll stand for nothing, they'll stand for their own home.
And with that, the three of you make haste. To where?
So before I head back to the bathhouse, I will go to Jared, and I will explain the situation to him. Like, he needs to have a town meeting, he needs to call everyone who's still in the town, and I will hand him the skull and tell him he needs to start telling them exactly how to fight undead.
Sure. At this hour...
How to deal with demons and things like that. Like,
okay. At this hour, it is... I mean, it's late, as is. The city does have a bit of a curfew, and while Jared doesn't particularly jive with the curfew himself, he follows the rules, and he makes sure that the everyman also does that. So, when you arrive to the guardhouse, he's last to leave. You see he carries what looks to be a lantern with him, and as he is locking the door behind him with a large wrought iron key, you almost see him adoring the handle in a way that a man can only appreciate a spouse, a love of theirs. But as quickly as it came, he's gone. He seems to be breaking his stride and moving in a different direction. Do you cut him off? Do you...
Yeah, I'll cut him off. I'll call out to him.
I cut him in half, in fact.
Guard Captain Skellerang, a word.
You see his head turn, and he shines his lantern over to you. It looks almost as if he pulls down the hood of the lantern itself, so it kind of guiding lights over in your direction, and sure enough, there you are standing like daylight. You bring a beacon with you. That is your arm. He sees how nonsensical it might be to have this lantern with the precipice of sunlight itself. So he drops the hood over his lantern again, puts out the flame, and he says, "Ah, Ulhime. Klaus? Ward? Squire?
My name is Cort, sir.
Cort, alright. I don't think we've met yet. Wow, it's just not sinking. I'm Guard Captain Skellerang. At your service.
I'm glad to meet you, and he's gonna firmly put his hand out to shake.
He passes his hand across yours, and he grabs your forearm.
I'm assuming, because Jared's also a beefy fighter with a really high strength score.
Well,
right?
I mean, as far as physical looks go, he's very hardy. He's quite endured. You see that he's battle hardened. You can see in the way that he moves, and the weapon that he carries on his back. He's not exactly weak, to say the least.
You seem different from a few of the guard captains in cities that I've been in. You don't seem like you just kind of sit around here.
Push papers? It's not really my bag. I do a lot of different things. I used to kick a lot of ass. Now I just tell people to go do that for me. It's kind of boring.
Cort's gonna turn to Klaus and Ulhime. What about him? Would he be able to help us?
That's what we're here for. And he'll open up the like potato sack kind of thing and hold the head out.
Ugh. Oh, that's
you
disgusting.
Know what this is already, don't you?
It could
it's
be.
A vampire.
That's usually not how guessing games work. You're supposed to ask and then let me answer. No, it doesn't. I've not seen any vampires that look like that.
It's because they're all hidden under the bathhouse.
There a reason you're so monotoned right now? Are you going to deliver some really horrible, shocking news? I don't think I'm ready for this. There's not enough alcohol in me right now.
Educating the people of this town on how to deal
Whoa!
with these
Oh,
things.
hold on. It's late. It is late. Okay, I don't think you realize how many bits of tinder I burned today, and how much signing of papers I've done. Okay, this is kind of shitty. Can we just get a drink?
No.
Okay, well then you can walk along with me and tell me all about it, because I'm going to go get a drink.
Cort's gonna follow Jared.
He's going to try to cut off his path again, the moment he tries to dart away. You have very few people in this town left.
You act like I had many to begin with.
None of which know how to fight. None of which have been educated on how to deal with threats like this.
I beg to differ. Recent reports state that you actually don't know how to fight, as you were found hanging out on the hovel of a church. Waiting to accost someone? Last I heard, anyway. That you were beaten by a Gentile pastor. Maybe I misheard, of course.
Your report's not wrong, but that has nothing to do with the situation at hand now.
Listen. Guys. Level with me here, but cut the tone. It's not the end of the world.
It might be.
We have a couple of vampires. A coven. We just find them, we stake them and burn them.
Try several hundred.
Yeah, sir, they were crawling along the walls and the floor. There were lots of them.
God, this was why he was monotone. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We tried going down there because we thought we were chasing 3 or 4 of them. We fought a few of them in the bathhouse earlier this afternoon, and we dealt with those just fine, except for, and he's gonna hold his arm up, except for this, and he's gonna point to Klaus and that too. Or no, you didn't get bit. You were fine.
Well, you mean you can't deal with them, Klaus?
I mean, we tried.
There were more than 3 when we got down there.
The leaders,
Yeah, they're leaders? They're organized?
in a way. The skull, you see, it's... the masses of them, the most. Do you remember the goblin invasion several months back?
Yeah, I remember mowing through them.
Most of them. The remnants were down in Drakthar's way. And they've been turned.
Oh,
All
no.
of them.
Way to sully a drinking mood, guys. Damn it!
There'll be plenty to drink after they're dead.
I'll make this short and simple.
Cort's gonna pull out his water skin and hand it to him.
Find your priest, anyone who's left, and have them bless the waters. As much of it as they can.
Didn't the priest die?
There are still some that remain.
Listen, that's going to be a problem.
Silverware you need to melt down and make weapons from.
That's okay. All right, you're making demands, and I don't know if the people are going to abide by that.
Think of them as suggestions on how to live.
All right, I'll call for a meeting. At best, I'll inform people, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do this. You understand? You know how people work.
Equip them with the right information, and those that are worthy will do what's needed.
All right, so there's...
And here's the evidence. And he tosses the skull to his feet.
He
Show them that.
Instinctively, seeing that you just kind of lob this at him, he lets out a bit of a wry, girlish scream and kind of punts it back at you.
It's a hacky sack.
This is your proof to the people.
I don't need that. Just
You do.
You do.
no. Your word is fine, Klaus. They don't.
Do you think any of them trust me?
Do you?
You may.
Do you honestly think that they're going to look at this and know what it is? They're not going to know it. Goblins already have sharp teeth, guys.
Do they do this when they're dead still? As you can still see, like the mouth and stuff moving.
Snakes do that. Alligators do that. There are a lot of creatures that still bite when you decapitate them. I know. I did a lot of decapitating.
Then show them what happens when it touches sunlight. Do snakes and alligators, do they burn up when sunlight touches them? No, right?
No, but I don't really know what happens to vampires either.
Well, you have to rip out their fangs, like the big fire guy.
All right, I'll take this lumpy mass to stage to see if anybody bites more than this thing does.
Also, have them put lines of salt on the window seals. That'll keep them safe from other dangers as well as vampires.
Well, whoa. What other dangers are you talking about?
Demons.
Demon? You think salt is going to keep demons away?
There was a guy named Nap the Torrent walking around. He was kind of scary.
I really wish you wouldn't have said that.
Why?
What the fuck did I just hear?
The demon
Cort.
Lord Nab the Torrent, he's here in your city, along with an army of demons, most likely.
He's an army in himself. I don't know what other forces he would need to bring with him.
You see his lips begin to furrow. His eyebrow tightens over his forehead. Like spit runneth over his bottom lip. And he just looks at you, Klaus. We just fucking talked! And you didn't say anything about this! Why didn't you say anything about this? We were supposed to keep the lines of communication clear, man! What the fuck is wrong with you?
Primarily, what would you have done if I had told you he was here? Honestly.
I would have prepared more pants, Klaus!
Pants don't help when he can wish them right off of you.
They help me when I fill them! What the Nobody here knows how to... I don't know how to deal with that.
Exactly. Why do you think I didn't tell you?
You could have given me any time. Fucking SOS, a flag. You could have drawn spiky demon face in the sand and I would have picked some shit up. You didn't give me anything. Now I have to rally people to tell them that there's a fucking vampire army beneath this town and it's being led by Nap the fucking Torin.
No, that's a separate issue.
A separate issue.
Do not mention his name to them. You'll drive them away.
I can see you two have something that you need to get off your chest. And he'll kick the head back over to Jared. You have my advice. Have a good night. He gives him a bow and he just starts walking.
Oh, no, fuck you, dwarfy boy. You're staying here for this. Don't you fucking turn on me with your sunlight palms. You're staying here and you're taking this all. Don't even turn on this. As the guard captain, I demand you stay here.
Have a good night.
You can't hold him here.
Why can't I hold him here?
Because he's basically a fucking god right now.
I don't know exactly what he's doing except carrying around the skull of some dead creature. And then that doesn't look like any animal. It could have been a denizen of Cauldron.
Well, sick your men on him and we'll see what happens then.
I don't have to sick my men on him. I've had it up to here with people not telling me the entire truth. I'm tired. I'm cranky. There's not enough doorknobs to please a man around here. And I've got a fucking sword and I'm ready to level. So why don't we all just have a sit down, a powwow? What do you think? You know what? Where's the rest of them? Because I know you don't run in threes. Where's the rest of them at?
Dead.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I know
dead.
Better.
They're fucking dead. I don't know what you want me to say. They're dead.
I'm going to the fucking tankard. I'll find them there. And if not, I'll know someone that can find them there. I'll just go talk to the barman. Because that's what we always did. Every time something was amiss, I'd go talk to the barman, and he knew everything. Because you guys spill your shit there.
Is he talking about the one who got his wife back? Was I not supposed to say that too?
She's... Excuse me? Well, I think we should all go have a drink right now, and we should talk about these things, because apparently there's a lot happening in my town that I'm not aware of. By the way, speaking of which, did you resolve that little thing with the barman's child?
The dead one?
Well,
what?
As he's freaking out, I'm gonna grab him by the shoulder and cast another teleport.
As you grab him and you cast a teleport, he literally throws his lantern down on the ground, and you hear, "What the fuck?" And then you teleport out.
My target is the middle of Crater Lake.
That's fucked up. He's gonna drop him there, have him swim back to shore.
Jared can't swim, can he?
No, it's Cort. Wait, are you grabbing Jared?
I'm taking Jared.
Yeah, that's Jared.
Yeah, he's gonna.
And that's what I'm saying. Jared can't swim, right?
I don't think Jared can swim, dude.
I remember Jared not being able to swim, but I could just be misremembering that.
Sniper?
I mean, I know armor penalty.
No, Jared can swim.
Okay.
Jared can swim very fucking well.
Right.
But not when he's in full armor.
Not yet.
No, even in full armor, remember, he was actually able to outswim Klaus.
Yeah,
getting back there.
You can swim.
No, he can swim just fine in his armor, but he's gonna be pissed.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Why did you grab Jared? You could have just grabbed Cort and threw his ass in the lake. It's like, boy, it's time to cool down.
Why would you throw the guy who has nearly cut you in half twice?
Well, now it might be a third time.
Look, man,
why would you throw him in the middle of the lake?
Because you gotta cool off, and I can't have you go into the fucking tankard.
All I was asking was for a sign, a signal.
It's a lot harder to swing a
This is a
sword
sign.
when you're waterlogged.
You could have let him know. That's all I'm saying.
Give me a 25% range that you do not want.
I'm gonna go
Bottom of Crater Lake.
50 to 74.
Watch him get like into the
43.
abyssal realm or something.
Okay. You manage to cast teleport, grabbing onto him, and you both teleport to roughly the center, give or take 20 or 30 feet, on either side away from Crater Lake. And as you appear, you drop about 20 feet into the water as he's screaming, "Fuck." He was expecting to throw his lantern down and have it break over the floor. Instead, now he is falling to the lake below. And sure enough, as he falls, his fuck turns into a "Ah!" as he plummets into the water alongside you. He sinks briefly before gathering his sea legs and pushing himself upward. It takes him a bit of work because swimming in armor is challenging. It is very difficult. However, he makes the most of it, and he finally surfaces to the top. And if there was ever a man to spit, piss, and vinegar, he is screaming expletives the likes of which the stream have never heard before. And when he finally catches your gaze, he pauses for a moment, treading water, at least as much as this man possibly can. And then you see the arm lap forward. He's beginning to swim directly at you. Give me a perception, Klaus.
All right.
Run, Forrest, run!
Just be glad that he's no longer a wereshark.
Jesus Christ, even then. I was going to say the DC's 15, but you have a plus 15. As he starts to paddle, the ripples of the lake from his body smacking the water with a ethereal plop as it smacks. The waves start to stipple down, and as this happens, you see something new moving in the lake. Something writhing amidst the surface of the water.
Ah, fuck. This thing's awake again.
Beginning to wisp. Do you glance down into the water in the dark? What do you do?
I don't want to see that.
It's not there if you don't look.
Having seen it out of the corner of my eye and knowing what usually lives in this lake, I'm just going to start swimming at him full speed as well.
Jared, he pauses for a moment, looking at you, and he sees you swimming directly at him. Confused, he begins to swim faster. It's now basically like the Great Race as you're both paddling at each other. And as he seems to do this, let's see if he's actually going to see it. I'm just going to give him a plus 8 because I'm assuming he would have at least that much perception at his level. Set the DC at 15 again. Jared seems to be looking at you, and then quickly his gaze shifts just a few inches away from you, just over your shoulder. And when he looks, he pauses for a moment, and he sort of kicks backwards against the water that he's swimming against. And he brings up his hand, and even with his gauntlet, he's kind of like wiping his eyes. And he just pauses, trying to tread, and he tries to remain very still. Do you continue swimming directly at him?
Absolutely. I'm trying to close this gap as quickly as possible.
Sure. As you begin to close the gap and you get nearest him, he's frozen in terror. Just mollified. He doesn't even know what to say. He doesn't know what to think. Klaus, as you continue to look around, you can visibly see something happening around you, which is very strange. Are you familiar? This might be a little hard to explain, so bear with me. I'm going to reach outside of the game for a moment. I'm just going to speak with you as a person. You ever been in the tub and you can see the rim of the water where it has reached and you haven't moved for a while, and you can see the sediment, maybe like a hair or some dirt or something kind of clings onto the side of the tub, and then you stand up out of the tub and the water level drops visibly. This happens, Klaus. The water level begins to drop. It noticeably drops several inches, then several more inches, until you've dropped down what feels like a few feet. And you can hear the water falling like rain behind you. Jared just continues to look on. You're about 10 feet away from him. Do you continue to paddle?
Yeah, I'm trying to get there as quickly as I can.
You make your way over to him, and as he pauses and waits, you can see his eyes beginning to shift upward. And the star and moonlight from above that rain down, granting you vision, briefly blackens out. the moment that it blackens out, water begins to fall like rain all around you. The last you saw before his face went entirely black was his lips pursed so tightly, his skin color falling to a complete pale, his eyes as large as a newborn babe's, just watching in enamor. You've made your way over to him. You grab onto his armor. He struggles to still stay afloat, his legs kicking vastly so. Do you look behind you? Do you look up? What do you do?
I'm going to, while keeping a hold on him, I'm gonna kind of glance over my shoulder and up behind me, try and see what he was looking at.
A silhouette. You can't seem to make it out. It's so large. But then the rain pauses for a moment, and there is a loud, audible popping, a snap, and then this loud-sounding, almost wet flapping noise. Enough so that it causes the wind to streak across your grayed mane, and in spots it begins to dry as quickly as it had been wetted from you falling. Battened down, there's another flap again, a pause in the rain. Jared watches on, and then you can see it, as it begins to fly away. The largest black dragon you've ever seen. In fact, it looks sort of like Embarda. But it looks like Embarda with a tail, when he never previously had one. And this tail is split, moving, writhing like tentacles.